Hi there. Welcome to Healthy Cooking with your friendly Italians. I'm Jim Bero.
And I'm Marilyn Bero.
And we're here just before Lent. And Lent makes me think of New Orleans. And New Orleans makes me think of Mardis Gras. So, Marilyn, what do you think? Should we take a trip?
Yes, we should go check them out on Shrove Tuesday, which is their big celebration.
That's right. And we're going to be talking about the history of the Quarter, the French Quarter, the food, the restaurants, the Cajun aspects of it, the Bayou, which is an area down near the water where the Arcadians live. And we are going to give you some recipes with, I'm going to warn you, a lot of butter is used.
They like butter there.
They use it down there. So.
And we haven't been to we've been to New Orleans about 3 or 4 times, but not since Hurricane Katrina. So I know things have changed, but we've looked up, most of our restaurants are still there that we enjoyed, and I think it's still gone back to pretty much the same ethnic kinds of things that they do there.
They're still hurting a bit, and some of the restaurants are having a tough time keeping open, but things are coming back, and it's one of our favorite places, and we hope that you will take this trip with us. And we're going to have recipes for MUFFULETTA, bananas Foster, red beans and rice, barbecue chicken, fish fillet almondine, etouffee sauce, and a drink called a hurricane. So we're going to go and do all those kinds of things. Now let's talk a little bit about New Orleans. New Orleans, 200 years old. The French came there for religious freedom.
Right.
Spanish came and they were looking for wealth, and of course we had the blacks that came in from
the Caribbean.
They were shoot out of the Caribbeans, and then the Arcadians, which are the people that lived up in Nova Scotia. They came on down again for freedom. Plus, you had the Italians. The Italians are every place,
right? And
the Germans. And New Orleans is a seaport along the Mississippi River. Opened up the ability to move product all over the United States.
Right, up the Mississippi River.
Yeah,
right.
It's a cultural. It was a cultural and commercial center for the USA. And it really was booming.
Right.
Started about 200 years ago.
And it's really a fun place to go. It
really is. You really it's got
the jazz, the music, the what is it?
Well, that's over. That's down
yes,
below.
But they still play it in New Orleans.
Oh yeah.
I mean, George, my cousin, was a Zydeco player and performed there for a long time.
Yeah. So we're going to make some stops. We're going to be walking through the French Quarter, and the first place we're going to stop, Maryland, it's one of our kids' favorite spots, is the Central Grocery. Where they make a sandwich called
MUFFULETTA. And the first well, no, not the first time we went there, but we did. On our trip across country, we were there in the middle of summer. That probably isn't the time to go to New Orleans. I would suggest spring or fall or
it's
winter.
Hot in the summer.
But in the summer, it's like boiling.
And this Central Grocery was started in 1906 by Salvatore Lupo. And he was a Sicilian, and he made food for the Sicilian truck farmers who brought their vegetables into town to sell
to the farmers' market. Yes, to sell.
Right, which was across the street.
And then he made this absolutely incredible sandwich.
Yep. So let me give you the recipe for this thing. And the secret to this sandwich, it's almost like a regular sub sandwich.
If you thought about a sub, yes, yeah. But they use a lot more olive oil and.
Yeah, but they have that olive salad.
The olive salad, really, because that's sort of like vinegary.
So what we're going to do, we're going to cut a 10-inch round or square loaf of bread in half. You know, I'm talking about a bread that is like an Italian or French bread.
Right, something with a hearty crust.
And then you're going to dampen the inside of that thing with some of the olive salad oils.
Right.
And this is the real key to this sandwich. You're going to take some chopped green olives with the pimentos,
Right.
some chopped garlic, some parsley, some kalamata olives, and a chopped pickle, a vegetable pickle, which is called, Marilyn, what do they call that thing?
I think they call it
a giardina?
A giardina. It's like it means like from the garden, basically. And what they're saying, it has like carrots, and it has a lot of peppers, and it has all kinds of vegetables in it.
So you're going to take that and chop it up.
Yeah, and you can buy that already prepared most places.
You can go
already
any place and get it.
pickled.
It's a
it's
vinegar.
basically pickled.
Yeah. And we're going to add some olive oil to that, and then the juice that's in there is what's going to be in the inside of this sandwich.
See, they don't use mayonnaise.
No.
They're using the juice of this pickled salad. Yes.
So then you're going to put layers of salami, capicola, which is a hot ham,
Right.
Italian ham. Then a layer of the salads, okay, a layer of that.
Well, you have to have the provolone too.
And then the provolone. And then top it all off with some more drizzling on top. Put it together, cut it into 4, and eat it. Now, be very careful when you make this, because when you go to eat it, the juices tend to flow out of this thing. So when you go to the central grocery, you have to lean forward because it's going to drip down. And if you're not careful, if you don't lean forward, it's going to drip all over you.
And if you really want to make it spicy, you can put some chopped garlic and pepper flakes on the pieces of the cheese.
Yeah, you could.
You can do that, and it makes it even spicier. But that is basically, so it was basically a lunch product for the truck farmers coming in.
Yep.
And it's made famous.
Yep. Now, right across the street from the
Central Market.
Central Market, or grocery, Central Grocery.
Central Grocery, yeah.
There is the market where is still there today, where they would sell the vegetables, and right next to that is the Cafe de Mundo. De Mundo?
No, it's Cafe de Monde, I think.
Monde, okay. That's
or something
if
like
it was Italian, it'd be de Mundi.
And there's more, from what I was looking up, there are more than one spot for the Cafe
That's
de
the
Monde.
original place, though.
Yeah, that's the original place. And the big thing is that they made their coffee with chicory, which is not coffee beans, although they use coffee beans in it.
Chicory is the chicory root that is ground up, and they mix some dark coffee with it. It has a distinctive flavor. I can drink it once in a while, but not a lot. But they make it like you would a cappuccino. They take some milk and heat it up.
Or cafe au lait. I mean, there's a lot of milk in it, a lot of warm milk in it, and it's there for some reason. I love it when I'm there. Now you can buy it. There's a Luzerne coffee that has the mixture, but we've brought it home and tried it, and I don't like it. Isn't the same. Right. You can only have it in New Orleans, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah.
And there's another company called Union Coffee that has this thing. All right, so we're gonna keep walking.
But what else do they have that is very famous? Is the beignets.
The beignets. Oh,
you don't forget the beignets. Everybody loves beignets.
These are French donuts, basically, but they're very light.
They are.
And they're little square things, and they put a little confectionery sugar on them, and they're to die for. They really are good. So you might want to try those. Now we're going to leave there. We're going to walk across the street and go down a couple blocks, hang a right, and we're going to end up in Brennan's.
Now, Brennan's has been there for years and years and years also, and that made breakfast was very...
They made a big deal out of breakfast.
And omelettes and all kinds of wonderful things.
And it's a beautiful spot, and they have a courtyard in the inside that is open to, it's all open. And their breakfasts are at a new level. And one of the things they do is a banana foster.
And that's
very easy to
absolutely delicious also.
I made this once where you have to pour some warm liqueur over the top, and I ignited it and I burned the ceiling. But that's beside the point.
So be careful.
So be careful. So you're going to take some heat up, some salted butter. They use a lot of salted butter, and some brown sugar, and some cinnamon. And then you're going to take 2 bananas, slice them in half lengthwise, and put those in there. Add a quarter of a cup of rum, preferably a dark rum.
Dark rum usually works well.
And then ignite it, okay? And I'll flame all up, and then get some ice cream, put the bananas down, put the ice cream on the top, pour a little more of the wonderful stuff that's in there that's been melted down, which is basically booze, and you have it. They also had, Marilyn, didn't you like they have eggs Benedict there, but they also have a couple other eggs. One of them, an eggs Benedict, but it has artichokes,
right,
and hollandaise sauce.
Yeah, that was absolutely wonderful.
And then they have one with ham and tomato and all kinds of great things.
They have wonderful eggs Benedict style. You know, it's several different recipes.
It's a tourist trap, but it's still well worth it.
And the other thing that a lot of these restaurants do have are these courtyards. And you can eat outside or you're looking over the courtyards, and that's always interesting.
Yep. Now, we're going to leave there, and we're going to walk down the street. We're going to walk right along the Mississippi River.
Okay.
And we're going to hang a right-hand turn, and we're going to go down to Charles Street, and it's time for oysters. Raw oysters. Now,
that's a big deal.
Big deal. Now, there's people that you either like raw oysters or you don't. There's no in-between. I love them. And there's a couple of places there called, one of them is the Acme Oyster House, and the other one is called Felix Oyster House.
Now, Acme, there's about 4 of them now, I think, when I looked up last. But Felix was excellent.
So when I'm down there, I need an oyster fix about a dozen every hour, okay? But now, if you go down there and you don't like raw oysters, they have baked oysters Rockefeller, which is with some spinach and lots
bacon
of butter.
And wonderful.
And Pernod,
yes,
which is a anise liqueur. And then they also have a Bienville, which is a combination of cream, yolks, sherry, mushrooms, shrimp, and both of them are good. So,
well, you know, they have a lot.
That's what Marilyn would have.
That's what I would have. I've never been. Lately, I've been eating a few more oysters. I probably can eat 2 oysters in a day, raw. But that's about it. But I like them cooked, and of course, the proverbial oyster stew or oyster whatever.
You can't beat that.
Right.
So now we're going to leave there. We're going to walk just outside the quarter, and we're going to go and go to Mother's.
Mother's.
And Mother's are noted for their poor boys, and a poor boy is nothing more than a sub, but inside of it they have fried shrimp, and they're frying everything in cornmeal.
Right.
And they pour debris gravy over the top.
Yes, I just read that. And the debris gravy is basically the leftovers from the roast beef, and it's the pieces of meat that have gone in the bottom and the juices
and the
juices that come from the meat. Well, let's
call
it. And I think
is.
they must make poor boys out of roast beef too. I mean, there are other kinds of poor boys.
Yes, the best kind I think are the shrimp.
The shrimp. And their seafood down there, of course, the living there are wonderful. You know, particularly crustaceans like shrimp and crawfish and you know, clams and oysters and all those kinds of things.
And this is a dish that the blacks from the Caribbean came, and it's a dish that really for the poorer people that goes a long way, which is the red beans and rice with smoked sausage, and this is a great thing to have, and you really should try this. And what we're going to do is we're going to take some either red beans or white beans, white navy beans or red kidney beans, and we're going to soak them overnight, and then we're going to put 2 cups of chopped onions in a big pot, some green peppers, some parsley, some scallions, some cayenne pepper, some red pepper, it's going to get hot, some dried thyme, some dried basil, 3 quarts of water, and we're going to throw in a ham hock. We're going to put some grilled kielbasa or andouille sausage in there, and we're going to let that simmer and simmer.
Right, and as Emerald says, who has about 4 restaurants there, that everything is based on that you have a combination of onions, celery, and carrots. Yeah. The basis of most of this stuff is that you have to have the 3.
It's something that unless you eat it, try it, you don't really know how good it is. And it's very
it's
economical,
wonderful.
And it's good for you for the most part, except for maybe the ham. I'm not sure. But so we're gonna leave Mother's. We're gonna go to the right, and we're going to stop off at Preservation Hall.
And in Preservation Hall, they have jazz, the preservation bands, and the jazz out of those bands is incredible. Now, you're walking into probably a small room. You'll feel, if you have any claustrophobia, you might not be too happy with it. And you're sitting on hard benches, worse than if you went to church.
And no air conditioning.
And no air conditioning if you're there in the warm weather.
Yeah.
So, but the music is incredible.
Well, if you like, the blacks, thank God, they were the ones that brought this wonderful jazz to New Orleans, and this is the birthplace of presentation of this stuff and of their jazz, and it's really, really interesting to go to, even though it's hot and you're
crowded,
right? So now, Marilyn, where should we go? How about Lagasse?
Emerald Lagasse?
Emma Lagasse.
He has what? I don't know. He has several restaurants.
He has 3 or 4 restaurants there.
Down there.
And we're going to go there, and we're going to try his barbecue shrimp. Now, mind you, the shrimp aren't barbecued.
No.
Basically what this is, you take shrimp in the shells.
Now, yes, you have to remember they're in the shells.
And you take like 2 or 3 pounds of butter.
Right.
And put some seasoning in it, and put the shrimp in there and cook them.
Now, you wonder why are they in the shells? Well, the shells give them a much better flavor. It keeps them much more moist. But they're messy to eat when you take them out, but they are much tastier by using the shells.
And the people in New Orleans, they don't take them out of the shell. They just, chop through the shell, eat the whole damn thing. But, some people might want to take the shell off, which means you're going to get your hands all, but you can do this with your fingers. And you get a loaf of bread with this. So let me just tell you the ingredients of this, what they call barbecue shrimp in the shell. You're going to take 2 sticks.
That's a half a pound.
Half a pound of butter. You're going to add some canola oil, a cup of canola oil to it, 2 tablespoons of garlic, 4 minced bay leaves. You ever heard of mincing bay leaves? Yes, you do. Some dried rosemary, oregano, salt, cayenne pepper, black pepper, lemon juice.
Lots of wonderful spices.
And you simmer that for about 8 minutes, and then you're going to throw the shrimp in there. And if you're going to eat the shell and everything, you might want to just use the medium-sized shrimp, and you're going to cook that over medium heat, and then you're going to take it and put it in the oven. You're going to cook it for about 8 minutes, and you're going to put it in the oven at 450 for about 10 minutes, and bring it on out. get a loaf of bread.
Again, a nice hearty bread,
Yep.
Italian or French.
And just
But
pick it
you-
up and eat it
right.
with your hands.
You're right.
And then dunk the bread into the thing.
This
Have a lot of
wonderful
milk.
butter.
Or, you know, can't you see yourself sitting there taking this shrimp and oh my, with all that butter and going down?
Well, I'd peel them, but that's okay.
You're taking all the fun out of it, Marilyn.
I'm sorry.
All right, so let's take a side trip, Marilyn.
All right, where are we going now?
Let us go to the Bayou.
All right.
Let us go where the Arcadians live, which is an area that it's in the swamp area. And you go down there, and they've got all the crawfish.
They use a lot of crawfish.
And,
now, crawfish is very good, but honestly, you get this piece of crawfish. I mean, it's a great big thing with shell. And you probably get a tiny little taste of fish.
Get a very small taste of
It's much like crab.
And again, there's a lot of fat in it.
Yes, it actually has, yeah.
They have these restaurants down. This is down in the parish of Lafayette. And you go in, and they have these bands, with these Zydeco bands. Which,
right. They have the washboards,
Yeah.
all of that. They have the mandolins, all of that kind of thing. But the washboard is part of the rhythm of the.
And then they have these big, giant bowls of crawfish that
Right.
have been steamed with some hot sauce and everything on them. And they go up with about the size a plastic shoebox is what it looks
Right.
like, and they shovel them
Shovel
all in
it
there,
and give it
they
to
sit
you.
down there and listen to music, drink some beer, and pop these into your mouth. I was down there actually with Peter Koch.
Okay, that's right. That was
So-
one of your trips.
That's right. So that is something you want to do, and you could, while you're down there, you can go to Avery Island where Tabasco sauce is made.
When we went through with our boys when we were traveling with them, and we went to see how Tabasco sauce was made. That was really interesting.
Yep. So that might be a nice side trip. So now let's come back to New Orleans, and let's go to Maryland, our favorite restaurant.
Right. This is a very wonderful old restaurant called Galatoire.
Yep. And it's been in existence since 1906. And what even makes it better is the person that started this was a man by the name of Victor Bero, B-E-R-O.
Just like our last name.
Right, but he's French. We're Italian. Well, actually, our name is not Bero either. It was Bialco. We got to follow.
Somehow it got changed.
But it's an old building that takes no reservations. Everyone is dressed up.
The waiters are in tux, and black ties. They have gloves on. It's really quite formal and beautiful.
And have wonderful, wonderful food at a reasonable price. And it's right smack dab in the middle of the quarter. And they do a fish fillet almondine. Really a simple dish to make, but something that I think you all will enjoy. You're going to take some tilapia. And down
Right.
there they have other fish. They might use trout. But here we have tilapia, works extremely well. And dip it in milk, pull it out and rinse, take all the...
Let the milk drip off
right.
the fish.
And then pat it dry. Then go ahead and mix some flour and salt and pepper and canine and saute it in canola oil. That's amazing that they're going to serve. But
Canola oil is really used because of the fact that if you really want to fry or saute anything, it takes more heat than olive oil or butter. Either, you're able to get a higher temperature of heat
right.
without it browning or burning.
But then what really makes it, they make this sauce where they use a stick of butter.
Yeah, there's your butter. See,
and slivered almonds, and they're going to saute that with some lemon juice and black pepper, just for about a minute, and just pour that wonderful almondine sauce over the top, and olé, you are there.
and of course, all their fish is fresh. And there'll be
Yeah.
different kinds of
In
fish.
fact, you have to stab it because it's still jumping.
Okay, so now to finish all this, you've got to have their most famous cocktail. Now, I couldn't possibly drink it; it has too much alcohol in it. But there isn't a person that should go to New Orleans without trying
The
a
hurricane.
hurricane.
And this is at a bar called Pat O'Brien's. And Pat O'Brien, I went there with 3 of my buddies when I graduated from college, and we went down there and we went to Pat O'Brien's, and we sat and had this cocktail, and we ended up, and they're served in hurricane lamp-shaped things, right?
Shaped glasses.
And it goes down real easy. It's almost like you feel like you're drinking a Shirley Temple, but you surely are not. And I can remember that this was a very, very expensive drink down there. It was $2. You got to keep the glass. But it was $2, and we ended up at the end of the period. We had them all, 20 of them, on this little table. And to celebrate our graduation from college, we made a swipe and swiped them all off and onto the floor and cheered. So that was our graduation present to us. So there's also we're running out of time. There's also a recipe in here for at Antoine's, which is a very high class restaurant that is having a difficult time coming back, which is an etouffee sauce. And an etouffee sauce, you make this sauce and then you end up putting your shrimp or fish or oysters.
Yeah, whatever's fresh and whatever's good.
Whatever's good, and you can serve that way. So that's great stuff. And you also should look at when you go down. If you go down there, go to the Garden District, get on the trolleys, eat a poor boy. It's a unique experience that you will enjoy. Now, if you can't go to New Orleans, right?
Right, you can just make this all yourself.
Well, you can also go on to the Finger Lakes Wine Trail, or the Hugo Wine Trail, and they're having a celebration for Mardi Gras this coming weekend. So you might want to try that. So that would be nice.
And of course, you have to have all the beads and all that stuff, all those wonderful things.
Yeah.
So
it's a great place to be. So we are excited to present New Orleans and the Mardi Gras and all the wonderful foods there, very unique foods, and we're going to get out of here for a while.
We're going to go travel to Florida for a little bit.
Yep. And when we come back, we're going to head to Bari in Italy, and then we're going to take the ferry and go over to Greece. So we're going to have some Italian food and what else is new?
Right, and some Greek food too. Maybe.
And some Greek food. So that's what's going to be coming up in the coming weeks. So enjoy the Mardi Gras, and try not to get too much butter in your diet.
Well, then you go into Lent and you have to start fasting, so you get rid of it all. There you go.
Sounds good to me. So look, you have a great time. Enjoy yourself. We see you in a few weeks, and ciao.
Ciao.